Man, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of EOS. It's 1090 Jake, man. I'm rocking with y'all, y'all rocking with me. For this video, I decided to switch it up. For this video, I'm going to be speaking on somebody that I was inside of prison with, whose case that I had only heard of. I didn't have any factual knowledge behind what happened. I didn't know what to believe. I didn't know what was true. I just knew only what I had heard. But I don't want the focus of this video to be on the person that I did time with. I want it to be on the victim. Now, within this story, there are tragic events, including death, shootings, and I ask that everybody keep a high level of respect in the comment section. On January 8th, 2011, an 11-year-old boy named Jake Castillo was standing on the porch of his aunt's Lakeland home holding a plate of food. He came outside to greet one of his brothers who came to visit the home. Another brother named Juan was outside in the yard at 1707 West Parker Street. Jake saw a van go by. It stood out to him because one of the men in the van was watching him and his brothers, specifically Juan, who was now standing in the driveway by the road. The van's sliding door on the passenger side was partially opened, and a man was facing the house. Jake could see something in his hand, but before he could make out what it was, his older brother Juan told him to get inside. Jake turned to run, but he didn't make it past the front door. Juan ran across the yard and only made it to the stairs of the front porch before the shooting started. He was on the stairs. Jake, now 12 years old, testified in court. That's the last time I saw him, on the stairs. My brother ran up and he was trying to protect me. Juan Castillo, 19, died after being shot in the thigh and back of the head. Jake Castillo, 11, was shot once in his neck and once in his spine, leaving him paralyzed from the waist down as the bullet continued on, striking a wall within the home. After 3 months in the hospital, doctors told Jake he'd never walk again. Around 1:50 p.m., Alejandro Baez Garcia and 4 others were riding in a GMC van. All 5 were alleged members of the Sureños, a predominantly Mexican gang originating in Southern California. According to an arrest affidavit, Alejandro said, "Let's go find some Northsiders," referring to the Norteños. Originating in Northern California, the rivalry between the two dates back to the 70s, leaving a long, bloody history on the streets of California and within the California Department of Corrections. The driver, Jose Tinoco, drove east on West Parker Street where they encountered a man on a bike named Jonathan Rondon. He was wearing red, the color of the Norteños. Jonathan was on his way to visit Juan Castillo and his family. Alejandro told the driver to turn around. He made a U-turn and drove back to West Parker Street. When the van approached the home at 1707, Alejandro opened the side door and started firing at Juan Castillo, who was also wearing red that day. Juan Castillo's wardrobe was once filled with so much red, his aunt teased she'd one day bury him in a rival gang color. It was her way of telling him to leave the gang alone or face the consequences. The 5 men drove off, leaving Juan dead and Jake paralyzed. A witness to the shooting disagreed with reports, saying Juan was not wearing red that day. Jonathan Rondon was the initial target because he had a red bandana in his back pocket, but the shooter fired indiscriminately. Members of the family, John Lugo, Hector Lugo, and Christopher Castillo, chased the shooter's van in a vehicle of their own, unsuccessfully. The next day, no one answered the door for the media at the Castillo residence, where spatters of blood still remained. Members of the community and media reports helped locate those involved in the deadly shooting. The driver, Jose Tinoco, the shooter, Alejandro Baez Garcia, and the passengers, Roger Garcia, Pascual Jimenez, and Martin Echeverria. To sum it up, everyone gave statements. From admitting to being gang members, admitting to everyone that was in the vehicle, who sat where, only Echeverria denied the shooting. Alejandro's confession stated he saw an enemy and instincts took over. In a taped statement, Alejandro told detectives the day after the shooting he fired the shots because Castillo and others were throwing rocks at the van. They were throwing rocks at us, so we ain't gonna let them beat up our ride or anything like that. So I just pulled it out, you know, the little 22, and I just started firing at them. He said he wasn't trying to hit anyone, he was just defending his people, later saying they charged the vehicle with bricks and bats. Another passenger in the vehicle saw men holding rocks, but didn't recall any being thrown. But he did recall Alejandro shooting out of the vehicle. Alejandro was found guilty of first-degree murder, attempted second-degree murder, and was sentenced to life. July 3rd, 2017. 6 years after a shooting that left Jake Castillo paralyzed and his older brother Juan dead, shots rang out again. Now 17 years old, Jake Castillo sat in his wheelchair outside of a house with friends located at 2603 Tennessee Road in West Lakeland. 2 miles away from the home he and his brother were shot. A 911 call came from a male who identified himself as Christopher Garcia, reported someone was shot in the face with a rifle as they drove by at Tennessee Road and Lebanon Road. An additional 911 call advised the Hispanic male had a handgun and ran into a ditch. Police arrived and made contact with Christopher Garcia, Dario Trejo, and Jose Tinoco. Tinoco had a gunshot wound to his face and Trejo had a gunshot wound to his left arm. They stated they were shot down the street on Tennessee Road. As police arrived at the scene of the shooting, they found another victim.
Jake Castillo is deceased. He's 17 years of age. Now you might ask, why is Jake in a wheelchair? Well, I was at the shooting on Parker Street in 2011, January 2011, when Jake and his older brother were shot in another drive-by shooting. Jake's brother was killed in that shooting, and Jake was paralyzed.
With mixed stories as to why the shooting occurred, apparently there was a confrontation between Dario Trejo and a resident of the house. The resident, whose families were members of the Norteños, expected Trejo, a member of the Sureños, to cause an issue. A Cadillac known to belong to Dario Trejo drove past the house, stopped, and turned around slowly approaching the residence. Jake Castillo's wheelchair was pushed into the residence by one of the people home, as John Lugo retrieved a shotgun and opened fire on the vehicle, starting the gunfight, as the driver of the Cadillac, Dario Trejo, returned fire while driving. Jake Castillo was hit by a stray 9mm bullet while inside of the residence. Dario Trejo was sentenced to 8 years in prison after pleading no contest to manslaughter with a firearm in the triple shooting that left Jake Castillo dead. Prosecutors considered many factors, with the most important being he returned fire when firing the fatal shot. John Lugo, who initiated the gunfight, from what I can see on the Polk County Clerk website, is still fighting his case and is currently charged with manslaughter and possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. Now this is one of the more difficult stories that I've had to look into, because Jake lost his brother at 11 years old and was paralyzed from the waist down, only to lose his life years later at 17 in the same style death as his older brother. And I did find a GoFundMe account which I wanted to link to this video, but that account is no longer active. Now it's been said by the family that Jake was not participating in the gang activity. He had dreams of going to college and bettering his life and learning from what happened to his older brother. And it was even said his older brother wasn't actively gangbanging, that he had did a stint in Hillsborough County Jail, I believe it was around 10 months, and was changing things around for the better. It's just another sad example of gang violence and how it can affect the whole family. Now Alejandro, I didn't know him as Alejandro. I knew him as Pee-wee, and I met Pee-wee at Appalachian Correctional Institution. The only things I knew about him was his affiliation. I knew that he was born in California, and I heard that he was in prison for shooting 2 Norteños, killing one and paralyzing the other. Hopefully when some of y'all hear this story, it will have an effect on you. That if you are participating or are around a lifestyle that you know is dangerous and can be deadly, that you seek to take advantage of the life that you still have and move into a more positive direction. I send my condolences to the family of the victims, and with that being said, it's 1090 Jake. I'm rocking with y'all, y'all rocking with me. Till next time.